Jung believed that the self is not a single, unified thing, but a collection of parts. One of the most visible is the persona, the mask we wear to move through the world. The persona is performance, a carefully shaped version of ourselves designed to gain approval, success, or protection. If the ego is our internal narrator, the stream of thoughts and memories, then the persona is the polished surface we show to others. It helps us survive. Sometimes it even helps us thrive. In Jung's view, a person without a persona is blind to the real world, unable to function socially, emotionally, or practically. Because the persona is what allows us to play our roles, follow norms, and relate to others, it's a necessary bridge between the self and society. Yet it's only a part of us, not the whole truth. The problem isn't that you have a persona. The problem is that you think you are it. When the ego fully identifies with the persona, we begin to live as a performance, losing connection with our inner truth. This can also lead to the repression of the shadow, the parts of ourselves that don't align with the persona, yet still exist within us. And what's buried doesn't stay buried forever. Everything we've repressed to keep the mask intact eventually finds its way to the surface. That's the heart of what Jung called the shadow, the disowned parts of ourselves we push into the dark. Jung once described a dream he had. He was walking through the darkness holding a small, fragile candle. Behind him, a terrifying monster chased him. He was trembling, but he kept moving forward, protecting the flickering light in his hand. He was terrified, until he finally turned around. And what he saw wasn't a monster. It was his own shadow. We spend our lives running from the things we fear in ourselves. The anger, the envy, the weakness, the shame. We push them into the dark, hoping they'll disappear. But the truth is, what we don't face grows stronger. What we reject returns as fear. And the longer we run, the scarier it becomes. Jung's dream wasn't just a personal vision, it was a mirror held up to all of us. The monster is the part of ourselves we refuse to see. And the candle, that's our consciousness, the awareness we must protect, even in the darkest corners of our mind. Today, many of us are still running. In modern society, the pursuit of superiority has become a coping mechanism, and social media has only amplified it. We chase achievement, perfection, and validation, not always because we value these things, but often because we're trying to escape something deeper, the fear of being inadequate, flawed, or simply human. Platforms reward the illusion of strength, not the truth of vulnerability. We project success to cover up shame and confidence to mask self-doubt. But in doing so, we drift further away from who we really are. Jung warned us, when we don't confront the shadow within, it grows in power. And eventually, it begins to control us from behind the scenes. There's perhaps no better modern depiction of the shadow than the unnamed narrator in Fight Club. He's a white-collar worker, trapped in a life that looks successful on paper. Steady job, nice condo, a fridge full of name-brand items. But beneath the surface, he's hollow, insomniac. Number lost in a world of corporate slogans and fake smiles. He doesn't know who he is. He only knows who he's supposed to be. Then comes Tyler Durden, the charismatic, fearless alter ego who says all the things he won't and does all the things he can't. Tyler is his shadow, not just a hallucination, but the embodiment of everything the narrator has repressed. Rage, chaos, masculinity, freedom, instinct, power. At first, Tyler feels liberating. Together they start a fight club, tearing down the polished illusions of modern life. The narrator finally feels alive, powerful, but it doesn't last. Because Tyler doesn't stay in the basement. He grows, he takes over, he becomes dangerous. The narrator realizes the very part of himself he tried to bury, the part he never faced, is now controlling his life. Jung warned us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Fight Club isn't just a movie about rebellion, It's about what happens when we let the shadow grow in silence, when we don't turn around and look it in the eye before it becomes the monster we can't control. How do we face the parts of ourselves we've spent years, maybe decades, trying to avoid? Carl Jung called this process shadow integration. Not fighting the shadow, not killing it, but listening to it, understanding it, giving it a voice, without letting it take the wheel. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you navigate this journey. Step 1, notice your triggers. Start with your emotional reactions. What makes you irrationally angry? Who do you judge the most? What qualities in others make your skin crawl? These reactions are often projections, pieces of yourself that you've disowned, now wearing someone else's face. The person who annoys you for being arrogant? Maybe they're showing you the confidence you secretly wish you had. The one you mock for being too emotional? Maybe they remind you of the vulnerability you were taught to hide. Step 2, journal the unspoken. Write down the thoughts you're ashamed to say out loud, the desires you suppress, the fears you laugh off. Be brutally honest. This isn't about judgment. It's about acknowledgement. Until you name it, you can't work with it. And remember, the shadow isn't only made of darkness. It also hides the gold. Creativity, assertiveness, sexuality, play, authenticity, all the parts of you the world said were too much or not enough. Step 3, dialogue with the shadow. Imagine sitting across from the part of you that you're most afraid of, the jealous one, the selfish one, the angry one. Ask, what do you want from me? What are you protecting me from? What do you need to say? You'll be surprised. The shadow isn't here to destroy you. It's here to complete you. Step 4, live with paradox. You are not just the good or the bad, not just the light or the dark. You are a paradox, capable of cruelty and compassion, brilliance and blind spots. Integration means holding both truths without collapsing into shame or ego. It means being human, not perfect, but whole. As Jung once said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Shadow work isn't easy, but it's real, it's raw, and it might be the most honest thing you'll ever do. People don't always see you. They see their own story through you. That's not always your burden to carry. Maybe they call you selfish when you set boundaries, not because you are, but because they were never allowed to say no. Maybe they mock your sensitivity, not because it's weak, but because they were taught to bury their own tenderness. Maybe they fear your freedom because they gave up theirs long ago. When you've done your own shadow work, when you've sat with your truth, your pain, your body's voice, you become grounded. And from that grounded place, you can see clearly, this is mine to hold. That is theirs. You don't have to absorb someone else's darkness to prove you have light. Thank you for being here. If this video spoke to something in you, a quiet truth, a memory, a feeling, consider giving it a like or sharing it with someone who might need it too.